Peace, y'all, and welcome back to another tea time. You already know the vibes, divine destiny. What you sipping on? I got my coffee with my cinnamon, my ginger. I got a little pumpkin spice in here and a little nutmeg today. It's really giving me life. Anywho, grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your water, grab your blanket, grab your vibe, whatever it is you need to come kick it with your girl today. Because the message Spirit got for me, I do got my notes because y'all know we staying on track today. All right, so the message that Spirit gave me is, you know how people be like, it's not the spirit, it's not the person, it's the spirit that's within that person that caused them to act that way or react that way, or just the energy that they sit in all the time, right? When you're in a spiritual journey, when you're on a spiritual path, right, at some point you have to come to the realization and understanding that everything is spiritual. And two, everybody is a spirit. Let's start there. Hey y'all, full disclaimer, this video is not going to be for everybody. So if you're here and you're watching this video, if you don't align with the truth that we are all spirits having a physical experience, spiritual beings having a physical experience, right, then this video is already off top, not going to be for you. 144 on my timer. However, if you are the chosen ones, if you are 144, right, if you're of the light, if you're doing the spiritual work, right, or you're trying to get on that path and journey, this video is for you. Go ahead and kick it with me, right? First things first, you're recognizing that if you are doing the work to cleanse, to clear, to heal, to transmute the energies that your spirit, right? We are all spirits that your spirit has picked up throughout your life, from programming, from conditioning, from environment, from experiences, from choices of your own making, right? If you're continuously and actively doing the work to release and clear that out, right, you're on the spiritual journey, right? You're on the spiritual path, right? The thing about that is, and I feel like it's kind of, well, I don't know about everybody else, but for me, when I started on my spiritual journey and my spiritual path, I really began to surround myself with people who were also at least trying to make movement in that direction, right? So my physical reality in close proximity was very much so people trying to build and grow within themselves spiritually, and it still is. So with that being said, it's a little easy to forget that not everybody is on that same spiritual journey. Not everybody is on that same spiritual path, right? There are some people who actively and consciously choose to engage with, to feed, and to nurture those same energies and entities that you're clearing off of your own spirit, right? There are definitely some people who choose to engage, to feed, to nurture those same energies consciously for money, for fame, for clout, for power, for what, you name it, right? So with that being said, and then there are also other people who are unconsciously bound to those same energies, right? Because of unresolved traumas, right? Because of generational baggage, right? Because of addiction, right? Just the things that maybe they have been exposed to or exposed themselves to, has opened their spirit up to certain energy attachment, entity attachments, right? And so now they're unconsciously moving with that energy or the entity on their spirit, right? So there is different levels to this, right? You can consciously choose to be in the spiritual journey, to be clearing, healing, transmuting all the time consciously, right? Or you can consciously choose to be in the shadow side of the spiritual journey, because it's not any less of a spiritual journey if we are all spiritual beings, right? But you are choosing to move more in the shadow aspects of your spiritual journey if you're consciously choosing to engage in those energies and those entities, to feed them, to nurture them, you know what I'm saying? To be in cahoots, I guess, you know what I'm saying? Spiritual contracts with these energies, right? That you're moving more in your shadows, but it's not any less of a spiritual journey. Dang, Spirit, that's not even on my notes. That's a gem for somebody, right? Because that's a choice. unconsciously, you know what I'm saying? You're just ignorant to the fact that you carry these energies and entities around because you just don't know. Maybe it is a generational or a family thing, and it's just the mindset, the habits, the ideologies that your family has passed down for some generations, and this is just how it is. So you don't think even outside of yourself to think, why do we move like that? Why do we do this? Why is this a habit? Why is this an addiction or a codependency in my family? You know what I'm saying? So just recognizing that people operate in different levels of consciousness within the spiritual realm. And when you're in that spiritual journey, right, you are either moving and you're consciously moving, you're either consciously moving in your shadows or you're consciously moving in your light, but the journey is not any less spiritual, right? Your soul's still going through some kind of evolution, or I'm going to say evolution, right? Or elevation, depending on which choice it is that you choose to make, right? We're either regressing or we're progressing spiritually with every choice and decision that we make, right? I feel like this is a very important time right here to just go ahead and say that that is not an excuse for anyone's actions upon you, right? And I know this is a big conversation when you say it's the spirit, not the person, right? It almost feels like it's giving an excuse or like a pass to the behavior of the person, which is absolutely incorrect because, as I said, it is a choice. It is a choice, or is a choice to lean into your light, right? Even if you're unconscious, you still every day have the choice to remain unconscious. So either consciously or unconsciously, I'm not excusing anybody's behavior. I'm just, this is what Spirit gave me to sit with and really recognize underlying spiritually, this is really what it is. Like the spiritual warfare, the spiritual battle of it all is like when situations occur, experiences, especially unfavorable ones occur toward us or around us. You know what I'm saying? The spiritual battle occurs when we choose. But what I mean by that is when we make the choice to react, to interact. Do you know what I mean? To act at all or not to act, to be inactive, right? Those choices are the spiritual battle, right? So recognizing that not everybody is on this same spiritual journey, right? And it is the spirits that they choose or don't choose to engage with that operate through them, with them, or just operate them entire based on the contracts, based on the decisions, based on the consciousness. Do you feel me? So with that being said, it is up to us to actively and consciously choose how we're going to react to how people interact with us, no matter how big or how small that interaction may be. You know what I'm saying? It's up to us to choose how we're going to react because that is your spiritual test every day. And I know people feel like, oh, I don't like the idea of spirit testing, but this is life. So I just don't know how else to say that. This life is one of testing. This life is one big ass test to your spirit. So it's not that spirit is testing you personally in the physical, your physical body, even though you feel like it, right? But recognizing that you're a spiritual body first and your spiritual body signed up for this test, right? Your spiritual body, it's like if you're taking SATs, your body signed up for the test, paid to take the test, and then showed up on time and said, I'm ready for this test. And now you're here in a physical embodiment experiencing that test. So yes, life, spirit, source, universe, whatever it is you want to call it, test you because that's what life is. The test is how are you going to react? How are you going to interact? How are you going to choose to receive or perceive this experience, this situation, this person, their energy? How are you going to choose to maneuver after you've received and perceived? After they've interacted, how are you going to, you know what I'm saying? Those are the choices, and those choices every day are the test. We are tested every day. You were tested when you drove to work and that person cut you off. You were tested when you could have said something crazy, but you bit your tongue. You know what I'm saying? We were tested every day. You were tested when that super annoying situation had happened, just small irritations every day, and you choose to keep your patience and your cool. You were tested when you didn't blow up on that person. You were tested when you chose to be like, you know what, no, I'm not going to say that. I could say this. I could rip you up with some truth, but I'm going to keep it to myself. You know what I'm saying? Every day, in every small situation. You were tested when you woke up today and you chose or didn't choose to make your bed. You chose or didn't choose to say a prayer. You chose or didn't choose to drink some water, whatever it is for you, you know what I'm saying? But every choice, every option, every decision, every movement it is that you're faced with in your life is part of the test. So when people be like, oh, I don't like to think that spirit's testing, you're being tested every day. This video that you're watching right now, 12 Soul on my timer, is probably testing some part of your consciousness or subconsciousness. Probably testing some part of somebody's ego. 12:21 on my timer. We are constantly being tested, whether we are conscious of it or not, right? And so the biggest part of our interactions with people and the world outside of us is being tested. Our spirit is being tested of, are you standing strong, firmly grounded in your light, in your truth, in your authenticity, in your spirit? Are you standing 10 toes down for what it is you know to be true? That's the testing every day. So that person was also being tested when they chose to do whatever it is they chose to do against you or towards you, to you. Do you know what I'm saying? And they didn't pass their test. They're going to have to come back and continue to do that cycle, right? Because they continue to allow whatever spirit or energy or entity to move within them. And that's their problem. That's a them problem. However, you right here listening to this video, you are attracted to this video because you're doing the work, you're doing the energy, you're doing the cleansing, right? Your test is how you choose to respond to whatever them problem got going on, right? So just recognize it's deeper than like the person in front of you, even if that person in front of you is a family member, a friend, a coworker, a lover, someone, a loved one, just someone that you've known. And it's usually going to be the people closest to you because that's who has access to you energetically, emotionally, spatially, proximity. You know what I'm saying? So before you react, before you respond, before you pop off, take a moment, take a breath, take a beat, and just reflect on the fact that the spirit, there is an energy or entity working through their spirit. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. The spirit of jealousy, the spirit of betrayal, the spirit of gossip. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be anything great. It could be Jezebel spirits. You never know what people are attached to, but it doesn't have to be crazy all the time, right? Gossip is spiritual warfare. And that's the simplest form of communication. But if somebody is putting their energy and intention negatively towards you, that's, and they're speaking it, they're using their throat chakra to speak negativity, that's spiritual warfare. So, look, y'all, just pay attention. Just be mindful. Just be intentional with how you choose to react, how you choose to respond, how you choose to perceive. And I feel like spirit continuously puts me on this camera to just shift the perception of our everyday interaction with the world, because it is always spiritual first. And even though the people closest to you might be revealing some energies or some entities, right? It is up to you to choose how you are going to react and respond to that thing. And that is your test. So keep passing the test. Keep doing the work. I see you. Spirit sees you. I'm encouraging you to keep keeping on. And until next time, stay divine. Peace.